Hello and welcome to Nagaland TV. You are watching English Primetime News. I'll read the headlines to you now. Nagaland wears a deserted look as NSC and IM calls for total closure of shops and business establishments as a mark of protest against the Government of India's stand on Naga Framework Agreement. The 8th session of the 13th Nagaland Legislative Assembly commences the 2-day session to conclude on August 5th after recess on August 4th. India's men hockey team fails to qualify for finals, lost to Belgium 2-5 in the semi-finals, will now pray for bronze in the medal playoff. Central Board of Secondary Education declares Class 10 results. Girls once again outshine boys. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi chairs a breakfast meeting of opposition leaders to formulate a joint strategy against BJP. And now the news in detail. As the monsoon session of Nagaland Assembly began on Tuesday morning, during the first day of the 2-day assembly session, opposition asked various questions. However, the ruling party failed to give clear-cut answers. The opposition also demanded completion of the DC complex by next year. The opposition made it known that necessary instructions will be given at the earliest. Opposition also mentioned that intention of Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma is clear. However, just diffusing tension between the two states is not enough. The opposition also urged on the strengthening of manpower in the Vikotu and Sutalpela gate along Assam border. In return, Chief Minister Neiphiu Rio also said that he had a telephonic discussion with Assam Chief Minister on how to maintain peace. Opposition also demanded reports on register of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland and fate of the Kukis and Garos of Nagaland. The ruling party, replying to the question, said that the party needs more time with the tribal bodies. The ruling party also mentioned on April 2020 a report has been submitted, but it has been postponed due to the ongoing COVID pandemic. The opposition also questioned the secrecy maintained in the Banos Commission report. The opposition also took stock of the condition of Chobua district, where there is only one ambulance and no doctor is present. Replying to the query, the ruling party gave assurance that the concerned party will take care of the situation. NSC and IM called for total closure of shops and business establishments in Nagaland starting midnight of August 2nd till 12 noon of August 3rd as a mark of protest against Government of India for keeping silent on the framework agreement even after 6 years. Places like Dimapur, Kohima, Mon, Twengsang, Swemi were completely shut down and life came to a halt during the bandh. On the other hand, Federation of Nagaland Chamber and Commerce Industry has directed the trade bodies in all districts to carry out the business as usual on August 3rd in their respective districts because they stated that they haven't received any such letter or intimation for request of Nagaland business establishment closure from any corner.
State te NSC and IM pra tukan gura manukan aro business establishment gura manange so panu agita agina physically protest kro na parlebi as a mark of protest against the government of India tukan pon guru bole 2nd August midnight par logina 3rd August paro baje tak pon gro le to chanai dise itu to kile implement gro lagi jese gule to ide tak pi government of India bra even after 6 years framework agreement nimide chap thaka nimide itu implement kro lagi jese aji ami yan dikhibo pare ase Dimapur town de ki dukan khan ekta bi khola nai aro sob shutter pon kurigina ase gona itu ami yan dikhi ase. On the other hand, the Confederation of Nagaland Chamber of Commerce and Industry CNCCI pra koise ajila din de 3rd August to le to dukan khan sob bandu as usual khulibo gona itu janai dise kile mane ta khan iku letter panai nolebi iku request panai itu establishment kan pon grubole itu ta kan janai dise hulibi aji ami kan dikhibo pare ase ki sadharan sob pon kurna ase aro tokan khan ekta bi khola nai.
The Central Board of Secondary Education today declared the Class 10 results at 12 p.m. The results link is now available on the official website, that is cbseresults.nic.in this year. Girls have performed better than boys with an overall pass percentage of girls with 99.24% and boys stand at 98.89%. Meanwhile, the transgender pass percentage is 100%. A total of 20,97,128 were eligible for the Class 10 exams, of which results of 20,76,997 students have passed. A total of 16,639 students' results are under process. Dates of their results release will be announced later. Union Minister Prahlad Joshi said that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been expressing anguish over Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament Derek O'Brien's making papri chaat remark, calling it an insult to the people who elected MPs. PM Modi, along with the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Party President, National President JP Nadda and other BJP leaders attended the BJP Parliamentary Party meeting ahead of the start of the day's session on Tuesday. Union Minister Prahlad Joshi, who was at the meeting, said that PM called Derek O'Brien's remark insulting comment on Monday. Derek O'Brien hit out at the centre for rushing to pass bills in the parliament. In his tweet, he stated passing legislation or making papri chaat. Derek O'Brien's tweet came along with a chart of the bills passed. Water release from Damodar Valley Corporation dams coupled with heavy rains has left 6 districts in southern West Bengal inundated. Reportedly, at least 14 people have died and nearly 2.5 lakh people have been displaced from their homes in 6 flood-hit districts of West Bengal. The state government has set up shelter homes for those displaced as relief operations which began sometime last week. Continuing in the flood-affected areas, several areas in the Purba Bardham, Paschim Bardham, Paschim Medinipuri, Hugli Howrah and South 24 Parganas districts are reeling under waist-deep water, with people struggling to meet their basic needs. According to officials, over 1 lakh tarpaulins, 1,000 mt of rice, thousands of drinking water pouches and cleaning clothes have been sent to the shelter homes. Moving on to the next story. 3 days after a video went viral online in which a woman is seen apparently beating up a man on a road, the Lucknow police on Monday registered an FIR against her at the Krishnanagar police station. The case was filed under IPC section 394 and 427. Additional Deputy Commissioner of Police Central Lucknow, Sir Chiranjeev Nath Sinha, said that the man, a cab driver, filed a complaint against the woman on Monday. Police said that the complaint also alleged that she snatched his cell phone and broke it. The incident occurred on Saturday when cab driver Shadat Ali stopped his cab before the woman who was crossing the road near Awadh crossing. Apparently enraged over it, the woman started beating him after pulling him out of the cab before traffic cop. However, when the CCTV footage of the incident went viral on Monday, several people took to the social media to say that the driver was not at fault, yet he was assaulted by the women in public. The cab driver filed a police complaint against the women and wrote to the Commissioner of Police, D.K. Thakur, alleging that he was harassed by the police. Ending the stalemate in border talks that lasted nearly 6 months, India and China have agreed to principle to disengage at a key patrol point in eastern Ladakh, even though other friction areas remain in the region. India and China on Monday said that their senior military commanders had constructive talks on their lengthy border standoff, but an anticipated breakthrough on the pullback of troops from two contentious areas did not happen. According to a joint statement that came after the 12th round of talks between the senior military commanders of India and China on Saturday. So far, India and China have pulled back their troops from only one of many contentious areas. Two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu returns back home after winning the bronze medal at the Tokyo Olympics 2020. Upon her arrival, Sindhu expressed joy and thanked her fans for supporting her. Sindhu registered a win against China's He Binshao, bagging her a bronze medal at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics on August 1st. She defeated Binshao with 21-13, 21-15 in the badminton women singles match. Sindhu created history as the first woman and second athlete representing India to win 2 consecutive medals. As per the Badminton Association of India, she is the only other athlete to win medals back-to-back. The first being wrestler Sushil Kumar, who clinched his medals in 2 consecutive editions in 2008 and 2012.
Badminton Association to everyone for supporting me and encouraging me.
Tough day. Met your mother, father. How was it?
Not a tough day. It's an exciting day, and I'm it's a happy moment.
The Indians men hockey team bite the dust as they were knocked out by the Belgian team. The semi-final between India and Belgium began on an explosive note with 3 goals coming within the first quarter itself. Belgium converted a penalty corner in the early minutes of the match, but India pulled back with an equalizer from another penalty corner. Hence, Belgium winning the match, and now the Indians men hockey team will be fighting for the bronze medal. In women's javelin throw event, India's Anu Rani's campaign ended as she finished 14th out of 15 in Group A qualification with best attempt of 54.04 meter. Also, the country's wrestling campaign began on a losing note as Sonam Malik lost her 62 kg freestyle pre-quarterfinals. The death toll from floods that ravaged central China last month now stands at 302. Chinese authorities have announced that the large jump in the death toll is from the recent flood. Heavy rainfall hit the province of Henan on July 20th, causing flooding in numerous towns and cities. The province capital of 12 million people was one of the hardest hit, with areas and entire neighborhoods submerged and passengers trapped in flooded subway cars. A total of 50 people are still missing across Henan. The vast majority of them are causing the total death due to the flood. 292 were from the Shemha province. Most were killed from floods and landslides, while several dozens were killed from house collapses. Another 39 drowned in underground spaces, including basements and garage. The drowning deaths include 14 who died in flooded subway, where many passengers were stranded in subway cars up to their necks in flooded water as fast-moving currents ripped through the network of underground tunnels. The Jammu and Kashmir police has released a list of top 10 militants that it aims to target. Inspector General of Kashmir, Vijay Kumar, released a list of top 10 terrorists that are on target by the Jammu and Kashmir police. It includes 7 old terrorists, namely Salim Parai, Yusuf Kantur, Abbas Sheikh, Riyaz Chetargun, Farooq Nali, Zubair Wani and Ashraf Maulvi, while 3 new terrorists include Shakib Manzoor, Umair Mustaq Khande and Wakil Shah. After the eruption of militancy in Kashmir, security forces used to dismiss militants as a policy to not bring them into the limelight, where they were still at large. However, over the past couple of years, the strategy seems to have changed, with the police releasing lists of unwanted and wanted militants from time to time. After almost a gap of 56 years, India and Bangladesh has resumed regular operation of freight trains along the Haldibari-Chilhati rail route. The Haldibari-Chilhati rail link was inaugurated in December 2020 during a virtual meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bangladesh's PM Sheikh Hasina. The rail route service will strengthen trade relations between the two countries and is also expected to provide opportunity to northeastern India to enter the international market. The distance between Haldibari railway station and the international border is about 4.5 kilometers. Since independence, only 7 rail routes were operational between India and Bangladesh. The Haldibari-Chilhati rail route was operational till 1965 and was part of the broad gauge main route from Kolkata to Siliguri during the partition. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi today chaired a breakfast meeting of opposition leaders. The Congress leader had invited members of 17 opposition parties to the meeting to formulate a joint strategy against Bharatiya Janata Party and Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Leaders of 15 parties including Trinamool Congress were present at today's gathering. However, Aam Aadmi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party skipped the meeting. During the meeting, Rahul Gandhi said that the main motive is to tell us that we should unite. The more the voice unites, the more powerful it will become. The more difficult it will become for the BJP and RSS to suppress this voice. We should remember the foundation of the unity between that. We can have few arguments, which is a simple thing. It is, however, important that we start and come up with principles of foundation.
They are humiliating and shutting up the voice of the people of India and the majority of the voice of the people. The single most important thing in my view is that we unite this voice. The more this voice unites, the more powerful this voice will become and the more difficult it will become for the BJP to suppress it and the RSS to suppress it. We of course have slightly different perspectives on the world. We come from different states, we come from different ideas. But I think we should develop a foundation of unity. And then within that foundation of unity, we can have a few discussions and few arguments where we disagree with each other. But I think it is important that now we start.
Senior Superintendent of Police of Pathankot in Punjab, Surinder Samba, said an army helicopter crashed in Ranjit Sagar Dam on Tuesday. There were no immediate reports of any casualty, he reported. An NDRF team has been deployed to carry out search and rescue operations. The helicopter of the 254 Army Aviation Squadron took off from Manmu cantonment at around 10:20 a.m. The helicopter was carrying out low-level sorties in the Ranjit Nagar Dam area when it crashed. Further details are awaited. Moving on to the next story. The government has reduced its spending on advertisements. Union Minister of Information and Broadcasting Anurag Thakur told Parliament on Monday, replying to a question by NCP MP Dr. Fauzia Khan. Thakur said that the government cut down on its advertisement and expenditure by reducing the size of non-communication advertisements such as tenders or job vacancies. Earlier, on July 26, the minister told the upper house that the government's expenditure on advertisement in print, electronic and digital media has steadily declined in the last 3 years. In a written response to BJD MP Sashmit Patra question, Thakur said that the centre spent rupees 429.55 crore on print ads and rupees 514.29 crore on TV ads in 2018 and 19. In 2019 to 20, the allocation for print ads fell to rupees 295.05 crore, while the expenditure on electronic media platforms was down to 316.99 crore. The Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has decided to build more Khelo India centers across the country. The number specified by the ministry is 1,000, out of which 360 centers have already been notified, with an aim to promote sports in India. The Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has formulated various schemes, which includes the establishment of 1,000 Khelo India centers across the country. In a written reply in Rajya Sabha, Minister Anurag Thakur said athletes are being selected under Khelo India scheme and will be provided with annual financial assistance of rupees 6.28 lakh. He also informed 236 sports academics are being accredited across the country under the Sport to National Regional State Sports Academies. China's official English television channel CGTN has uploaded a video on one of the People's Liberation Army soldiers who died fighting Indian troops in Galwan Valley in June 2020. On social media and its website to mark the Armed Forces Founding Day on August 1st. The focus of the video is Chen Junjo, one of the PLA troops killed in the brutal fight with Indian border personnel on the night of 15 June 2020. The video shows edited footage of the clash between the two armies, Chinese equipments on the banks of the fast-flowing river, soldiers, mostly Chinese, wading in knee-deep water, and personnel from the two sides charging at each other. The video was pitched at a propaganda piece aimed at a domestic Chinese audience and begins with one-sided introduction to the Galwan Valley clash. According to Union Health Ministry data, India recorded more than 30,000 fresh COVID-19 cases, with its active case load is more than 4 lakh today. The number of deaths climbed to 4,25,195, with 422 deaths in the last 24 hours. The active cases comprise of 1.28% of the total infections. The national recovery rate now stands at 97.38%. The daily positivity rate is 1.85%. The weekly positivity rate recorded at 2.39%, the ministry's data stated.